Everybody can hear me clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, fantastic. Okay. Okay. One more. Okay, we're almost there. Just waiting for one more. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Happy New Year's again. This is the eighth day of the new year, January 8th in 2025. I hope and pray everybody had a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, a wonderful night. Amen. We're back once again where your host is me again, Evangelist Green, and we welcome back Dr. Akins and Sister Simpkins. It's been a while since they've been on due to the holiday, but thank God we made it back. So we're going to continue, I believe, the money management. So
Yes, ma'am.
get your pencils, get your paper, recordings, everything that you need, and let's get it on. One more thing I didn't do, Dr. Akins, if you could just come off for that 1 minute and let me press the record, and then you can come back on the okay. Oh boy, where is it? 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 Oh, wrong remote.
Recording in
Okay,
progress.
there you go. Now you go ahead. You can put it back up
All
now.
righty.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank each and every one that came on this evening. We thank you so much for joining in on Rock Vibe Gospel Radio. We're your host, like I said, it's me, Evangelist Green. As we say Monday through Friday from 8 to 9, from 9 to 10:30 p.m. And on Sunday mornings from 8 to 9, our nightly discussions will be, you can join in. You can call at tonight, you can call 718-300-1772. Or you can call in and just say hello or just listen on or voice your opinion, either one you want to do. Or you can download the radio in the App Store or the Play Store. You can also go to Google and search for Rock Vibe Gospel Production and listen or watch live. We also stream on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. And also on Facebook. For those who would like to make a donation, please do so by going to Cash App and type in $Pastor GO2 or by Zelle and type in Flimpo1 at Verizon.net. You are Flimpo is F as in family, L as in lion, I as in ice cream, M as in Mary, P as in Peter, O as in Oscar, the number one at Verizon.net. You are welcome to join us on our multiple platforms, and may God continue to be with you. So we're going to now turn it all over to Dr. Akins. We're ready for you.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Amen.
good evening, great evening to each and every one of you. And Happy New Year, right?
Happy New
Excited to
Year's.
be here.
Yes.
2025, doing the same old thing.
Right.
Evangelist Green, right? Nothing better to do than what we do. So
Oh
I
boy.
appreciate the opportunity to be on to serve alongside you tonight.
Yes.
Big salute to Dr. Green, the good doctor.
Yes.
I know he's listening in. He's always hard working.
Oh yes.
But I know you're listening in, sir, so I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. I can feel you in spirit, pushing me behind my back.
Oh
All right,
yes.
so go ahead and do it. All right, so I appreciate you
You
and
got
all those
this.
that are listening in with you, as well as on all the multiple platforms.
Yes.
We've been away for a few weeks, and we're coming back together. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed the holiday season, and they're excited about the brand new year, right?
Yes.
And so, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to march forward, teaching some foundational principles about financial management. This is a money management masterclass. It's the reason why it's so long. It's lengthy because money is so important, and how we manage it, being able to manage it well, the most highest way. It's important for us to understand that, right? Because money is tied to everything that we do.
Yes.
And so it's important for us to know how to manage it properly. But we learn how to manage our souls first, which is the most valuable asset that we have. And good soul management teaches us how to transfer everything that we learn into how to manage the things that we have. All our stuff and things, our assets, our money is managed the same way that we manage our soul, which is we don't barter, trade, or make bad trade deals, right? Is we guard the deposit, right? And so that's important for us to understand that. We've been talking about financial stability, and we'll do a quick recap so that our minds are recalibrated and we're ready to go. We're talking about a financial system, putting it in place that works, right? And we have to cater that financial system to each one of us individually. That's why it's always good to seek wise counsel. And those of us that are in leadership positions, especially in the assembly, we should have knowledge in these areas so that we can help guide people in the right way that they should go. So it's important for us to be able to do that. So create a financial system that and put it in place that works for you as an individual, right? Because when you have a system, SYSTEM, you save yourself stress, time, effort, and money by being regimented, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to be regimented. How can I discipline myself to do the things that I'm supposed to do to make sure that I maintain the income that I have. Because if you work to make the money, you must learn to make the money work for you, right?
Right.
Because we want to make it, we want to save it, we want to invest it, we want to multiply it, and then we want to maintain it. And so that's important. So we're talking about the journey of the stages of our money journey and how that works. Because in order for us to be able to be a blessing to others and be able to invest more and do more in the kingdom, we have to have more. We have to know how to produce more. So it's not just about what you need to know and what you need to do, but it's also how to do these things properly. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. I talked a little bit the last time about the green line, red line comparison and really just understanding what green lines and red lines are about, right? Green lines flow into your home or into your account and they cover all of your expectations, right? Those are all your income type, right? Income types. Green lines flow into your home and red lines flow out of your home because they cover all of your expenses. Okay. And so when I talk about green line, red line, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Money that flows in and money that flows out. Um, Also, if I can get my clicker to work here. All right. I gave you a quote of mine here. Being broke is a socioeconomic construct, but being poor is a mindset. And so when we talk about that, we explained it that being broke is considered a socioeconomic construct because it is not just about an individual's personal finances, but also reflects broader societal factors like income inequality, access to employment opportunities, and the cost of living in a particular area, making it a product of the social and economic systems in places. Essentially, the definition of broke is shaped by societal norms and standards. However, poor is a state of mind that while someone might be experiencing financial hardship, their perception of their situation and their mindset can significantly impact how poor they feel, suggesting that even with limited resources, a positive attitude can alleviate feelings of poverty while elevating a person's mindset and their openness to seize new opportunities and change their current circumstances. So it's important for us to understand when the king said that the poor we will have with us always, that's not about socioeconomics. That is about the mindset. Okay. So you're going to always have people with a poor man's mindset. And that's not about how much money you make. There are a lot of people who make a significant amount of money, but they operate off a poor man's mindset, which is the reason why they can never create excess. Is that what I understand? Because if you operate according to a poor man's mentality or a poor man's mindset, you will always
Yanni?
be living from paycheck to paycheck because you make bad money making decisions. And so what we have to do is understand that better, okay? So that we can be the head and not the tail, above only and not beneath. We can be the lender and not the borrower, but we have to put ourselves in that position by the principles and practices that we use. And in those things, we become naturally the light of the world, and people then see how things are supposed to be done. Does that make sense? Right? Because we're using the scriptures to illuminate our situation. Scripture is the lamp unto our feet and the light unto our path. So we see every step we take, we also see where we're going. So that's important. And then other people follow us to that destination. All right. Economics also is about the study of scarcity. Right. We have to study scarcity so we can understand that. We have to also study how people use resources, how people make decisions, and also supply and demand. All right. We got to also understand that. One of the things I talked about last time was making your own money. right? Y'all remember that? Making your own money. We
Yes.
talked about how to make what we call linear income, create linear income. And linear income is the money that you make from the work that you do, right? Like a profession, um, a job, a career. That's creating linear income. We talked about that the last time. All right. We also talked about creating leveraged or passive income, which is important. We want to create that green line on the efforts of other people, right? Not people working for you necessarily, but people working with you to create this leveraged or passive income. And what the advantage of that is it allows you to be able to free up to do other things, right? So now I can spread myself in other areas and I can do a lot of different things at the same time because I'm leveraging the time, energy, and effort and attention of other people. And so I can multiply my efforts. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? The scripture says two are better than one. Why am I multiplying my efforts? For they have a greater reward for their labor. And so as I begin to multiply by working with other people, I can create a whole lot more. So it allows me to focus on other things. We also talked about creating residual income where you do the work once, but you get paid repeatedly for doing that work, right? And being able to create these types of incomes, all being green lines and creating ourselves what we call long-term financial stability. All right. Any questions on make your own money? We talked about that last time, but I want to make sure that we are refreshed so we can go forward.
Yes, we
All right.
have it. Hmm.
Okay. The second thing that I talked about, which was the last thing we discussed the last time we were together, is spend less than you earn, right? Spend less than you earn. And if you don't, your upkeep will be your downfall. Okay. Your upkeep will be your downfall. If you spend more than you earn, we have to spend less than we earn. Okay. Too many people are living above their means. It's part of the reason why most of us struggle. And we should not have that kind of reckless behavior in the kingdom. When I talk about the kingdom, I'm talking about those of us that are part of the assembly of the body of Christ, the church. We're supposed to be some of the most educated people in the world. Why? Because the assembly is the greatest institution of higher learning. And we as leaders must be equipped to teach all things pertaining to the human experience so that folks that we have in the assembly are not don't do not reach their demise because of a lack of knowledge, right? The most high people are supposed to be knowledgeable, great deal of understanding and operating with wisdom, right? The single most important financial habit to develop is spending more or spending less than you earn. Okay. But it's also the hardest. Why is it the hardest? Because it requires the most self discipline. Okay.
All right.
We have to understand proper allocation of funds, right? Means to spend in accordance with your best interest long term. Don't fall victim to impulse spending. Remember, we talked about that, right? And I gave you some things that you could try over the holidays, right? Just to make sure that you're not falling victim to impulse spending. The truth of the matter is, some of us got ourselves in some real debt, right? Just to make some people happy during the latter part of last year.
Yeah.
And so now we got to dig ourselves out of that hole. Or what we want to do is to develop the kind of mindset that if we do the things we're supposed to do up front and be consistent, right? Simple things done consistently over time yield the best results. Then we're never in that position come the latter part of the year. That last quarter, we should not be going into debt just to please the people that we know, love, and trust. Okay. So what we should be doing is positioning ourselves where we're doing things conveniently, right? Because we properly planned and prepared so that we're able to do so. Okay. We also talked about controlling yourself, regulating as much as you can, because money that you use is money you lose. So you have to monitor your services contracts. And this is a good time to do it because we're at the beginning of the year, right? Not resolutions, because if you analyze that word, resolution is a resolution, right? And if every year you got to make a resolution, that means the solutions that you have in place are not working. So we have to have solutions, and solutions need to work long term. And so what we want to do is we want to put some things in place that allow us to control whatever we can. So we want to be able to regulate our lifestyles, our water usage, our electricity usage, the way that we purchase groceries, things like that, how we get gas, all these things, right? The miles that we put on our car and vehicles, like these kind of things we can regulate, right? Cell phone bills, we can regulate our cable bills, things like that. So making sure that we understand those things and how to regulate those things. All right, any questions on that? Because we could talk about that ad nauseum. Um, and really provide some clarity on how to be able to do those things. Because again, this is what I do for a living, and I've been doing this for about 34 years. So, any questions on spending less than you earn?
No, you're
Okay,
doing pretty good. Go ahead.
all right, all right. So let's go pick up from here and let's talk about paying your bills. All right. So I won't be going quite as fast now. I'll slow down a little bit, right? But pay your bills. All right. This is something that folks in the assembly need to understand. Why? We've already taught the principle where the scripture says for us to owe no man anything. So when we owe for the services that we use, we have to pay those bills. All right. So let me say this again: pay your bills. Do not negotiate non-negotiables. Okay, that's the first principles of paying your bills. Do not negotiate non-negotiables, because a bill for the service you have used is a non-negotiable. So you don't get to negotiate your non-negotiables. You've made a commitment to a company that provided you a service for a period of time. You used it, they billed you, you owe them.
Right.
And you have an agreement with that company to pay at a certain time. So write this down: must pays, because the way I refer to bills is must pays. Must pay, right? So when you have bills, plural, you have some must pays that you cannot negotiate. Must pays are priority. Write that down. Must pays are priority. So when you get your little check, must pays are priority. Here's the second piece to that: review your due dates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Review your due dates. Be early and never late. Write that down. Be
Right.
early and never late. Now, listen, this sounds this sounds simple, but I'm going to say this to you, and it may hit some of you, but I just want you to understand this is not judgment. This is about us making the necessary adjustments to bring about positive change. Okay. It sounds simple, but if you're an adult and your credit is bad, then you're failing elementary school.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know that right now, because this is elementary principles for you to pay your bills. And if you have a bad credit score, it is because you have not been honoring the elementary principle of paying your bills. And you have to do that. You got to pay your bills, you have to pay your debts, you have to pay them on time. And bills and debts are not the same, but you have to step through them similarly. You got to make sure that you understand when your due dates are, and make sure that you pay early and never late. All right, we're going to talk about that here more in a second. Pay attention to the details, right? Here's another thing that most of us sometimes don't do: pay attention to details. Your charges, your payments, and your postings. Now, I have some folks who are really good at that. They research everything. They look at all of their stubs. They look at everything, right? Sometimes you go to the grocery store, you go back and you look at that list. Sometimes you'll double charge for things,
Yeah.
right? All this stuff, right? Some people really go and itemize and look at that stuff because every little bit counts, right? Charges, payments, and postings. Human element, there's always a human element associated with what we do. So there are errors that can be made. It's not that people do it on purpose, but people can do that. Sometimes the reading on your meters could be wrong. Sometimes you could be getting double or triple charges for things that are on your
For
account,
sure.
boxes that you have that you may not necessarily turn in. I found that out myself before, where you go in and you talk to the cable people and you're like, hey, why is my bill so high? Right. And you look at your bill and they go in and itemize it with you. And sometimes you're paying for 2 or 3 boxes that you turned in a long time ago, but they never took them off your account. Those are the type of things that can happen. If they happen for long periods of time, that money adds up, right? And so you have to be on top of those type of things to make sure that you're not being overly charged for the things that you do. But listen, don't complain about bills, right? Don't complain about bills. If you use people's services, you owe them. So pay them with a smile on your face, right? Because every time you turn them lights on, you have a smile on your face, right?
For sure.
So guess what? Every
Same
time
here.
it's time for you to pay them for the money, I don't care. When you look at it and say, wow, I can't believe I'm paying this much for a light bill. Yes, I can't say it this way. I can't believe believe I'm using this much lights, right? So you got to find a way to start to regulate that, right? I've got some motion sensor lights that I got from Amazon, and I put them in all of my outlets. They're all over the place. Part of the reason because in the evening, if it wasn't for Zoom and all this other stuff and having to have on these lights and all that, aside from this, I'm gonna turn all these lights out and all of these, motion sensor lights are gonna come on, and I can move around here. You get up at night, you go to the restroom, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to cut on lights here and there.
Right. Comes handy.
There are ways for you to regulate these things, and yet there are ways to regulate it where you have your home could be lit up, where you can get a go and get a drink out of the refrigerator or something. You don't have to turn on one light at all. But there are ways that you can do it with these motion sensor lights and stuff like that. But you just have to talk to people who have found out ways to do things and figure that out. Does that make sense?
A lot. Yes.
All right.
It works.
Any questions about that? I know I got some folks listening in um, online. If you do have a question or a comment, let me know and we'll make sure we get that addressed because I
Right.
don't want you guys to wait while I'm on. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go to the next principle. We talked about bills. The next one is pay off consumer debt. Okay. Pay off consumer debt. Now here's the first part of that. Unnecessary debt is a killer. Write that down. Unnecessary debt is a killer. Also, write this down. Resist the temptation to spend money you do not have. Resist the temptation to spend money you do not have.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to give you one of my quotes here so that you can follow me. It says, be slow to borrow money, but pay it back quickly. Show no interest in interest. I want y'all to get that. Okay. Be slow to borrow money, but pay it back quickly. Show no interest in interest. These are principles. Okay. Something that I want you to understand. Now, let me break that down to you so you understand what I mean. This quote means spending money you do not have is the first step on the slippery slope of financial bondage. Therefore, you should carefully consider the need for a loan before taking one out, as borrowing money can easily lead to debt if not managed responsibly. So it is best to explore all other options first and only borrow when necessary. If borrowing is your last resort, make extra loan payments to shorten your loan's repayment term, saving you months or even years of loan payments. Extra payments also reduce the principal balance of the loan, which means less interest is charged on the loan in subsequent months. Does everybody follow that logic?
Amen.
All right. So now, a lot of the things I say, people they make it sound like, oh, yeah, we got it. It's cool. Yeah, you got it. You heard me. You ain't doing it. And this is part of the reason why your financial situation does not change. This is the reason why when things happen, you can't provide monetary assistance when it's needed, right? Like I got a call the other night. Well, yeah, last night. I just got a call last night. No, Monday night. I got a call, and Bishop, the presiding bishop, called me real quick and said, "Hey, would you go to my? I want you to go to my page. There's a GoFundMe situation there. Blah blah." Basically gave it to me and said, "Hey, I want you to support that and you know be ready to go. Do what you feel like you need to do, but just support it." Okay, no problem, sir. So I'm able to just go, boom, GoFundMe, do what I need to do. It's done. Text him back real quick. Not even thinking about that. Why? Because if you put yourself in a certain type of position, whenever it's required for you to move, you can do so. Does everybody understand that? That's
Yes.
what we have to be able to do. We cannot be giving people, listen, sometimes people need for us to pray for them, and there are times people need us to pay for them.
Sure.
Does everybody understand? When it's due, that's not time to get on your knees. That's time to go in your wallet.
Wallet. Right.
Does everybody understand? Right? So listen, we have to put some feet behind our faith And so we got to start doing better so that we can do more. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we need a paradigm shift. We need a paradigm shift. So I'm going to help you with a paradigm shift so that you can understand a little bit more about how we can get to where we really want to get. Now, I talked a little bit about showing no interest in interest payments, but here's the thing that I want you to understand. Um, Whenever you deal with credit, because we're talking about paying off consumer debt, so we're talking about credit here, right? So there's some things I want you to understand about credit, and I'm gonna give you some things I want you to write down. But right now, you have paradigm shift. I want you to write down charge card. I'm going to give you the charge card definition, my own canned definition, right? Charge card versus credit card. Okay. Now, you're using the same card, but how you use it. Do I use my card as a charge card or do I use it as a credit card? And I'm going to explain both so you understand because I said you have to have a paradigm shift. And when you have a paradigm shift, that's a shift in your perspective. So, how do I see this? Right. So, I have a credit card, but how do I use it? Do I use it as a credit card or do I use it as a charge card? And I'm going to explain that thoroughly so you understand. So, I said, show no interest in interest payments, right? And this is important. Interest, what is interest? Interest is money paid regularly at a particular rate for the use of money lent or delaying the repayment of the debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we know that the borrower is what? Servant to the lender as long as the debt remains. So we have to understand that. So, how do I get myself out of that position of being the borrower so that I'm in a financial position to be the lender? I've got to work myself. I got to work myself into that position because I can't lend what I don't have.
Right.
And I can't lend what I need. So that means in order for me to lend, I've got to have extra money laying around that I can lend to someone else and not be in a financial position where I need to charge them interest to make money off of them. So I should be able to lend it to them and not have to make money off of them. And that's the scriptures. The scriptures require us to do it that way, right? And so just understanding the responsibility we have to do that. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the credit card mentality versus the charge card mentality. So when we're dealing with a credit card, I want you to think about it this way. I want you to write some of these things down. Write this down and I'm going to give you some of my own personal terms. I use the term floating balance. Floating balance. Write that down. A floating, just like something floating on the water, a floating balance that exceeds a 30-day period. So write that definition down. A floating balance that exceeds a 30-day period is credit. That means I have credit cards that I use. And for me, like right now, I'm at the portion of this course where there are going to be some things that you cannot necessarily do because we're not all in the same financial position, right? But you need to learn the principles so you know what to work toward. So you have your goals set, right? And you say, this is where I want to be by the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. Like these are the goals that I set. I can't do this today, but if I do simple things consistently over time, this is the goal that I'm trying to reach, right?
Right.
And so I'm teaching you some of the goals that you need to have. So a floating balance, because I'll ask you this again, a floating balance that exceeds a 30-day period is called credit. So anytime I go and spend money I don't have, right? That means I charge something on my credit card. If it requires that I have a floating balance that exceeds a 30-day period, then that's credit, which means I cannot balance that I cannot balance that debt at zero in under 30 days. Now it's credit because it's subject at that point to interest. Everybody follow me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a floating balance. So if I say, what's a floating balance? I want you to be able to tell me what that definition is, right? Now, a charge card, same card, but I use it as a charge card. If I take that same credit card and I use it as a charge card, that means I'm able to settle at zero within a 30-day period. So I make my purchase and I settle that purchase in under 30 days. Now, write this down. Purchasing power is powerful if used properly. Purchasing power or credit, I call it purchasing power, right? Purchasing power is powerful if used properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be able to use it. Why is it powerful? Because it's powerful for us to make decisions like major decisions that we need to be able to make. When you're getting ready to make an investment in land, an investment in real estate, an investment in your home, an investment in your vehicle, you need to have good purchasing power.
Right.
Right. And so the way you build that good purchasing power is being intentional and responsible with your use of the purchasing power that you have. That's why you have to use it properly, because there will come times when you need to make major decisions and you have to be in a financial position to be able to do that. Because your credit score is really about whether or not you're trustworthy financially. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
So it's an evaluation of how trustworthy you are. Now, one of the things that I believe more so than anything is like I have a number of credit cards, right? With various different limits on it. But here's what part of the reason why I do that is because I have credit cards that I use for certain things, right? So I have whenever I'm in travel, I have a card that's exclusive for travel. I have businesses that I manage, and I have a card that I use for business. I have a card that I use specifically for gas. I have a card that I use specifically for online purchases, right? So I have, and then I have like a miscellaneous card that I use for like, if I'm gonna do special occasions or things like that, that I get ready to do business that way. Here's the reason why I do that. Because I have a philosophy that I say this is I pay with their money first. Mostly everything I do, I pay with their money first. And then I settle on my own. And I can settle on my own in less than 30 days because generally I either already have the money or I'm making the money within a 30-day period because I'm getting paid twice. So either I'm making the money within that 30-day period or I already have the money set aside, but I want to use their money first. Why? Because every time I use their money, I'm going to benefit from that using their money, right?
Right.
Points, right? Rewards, whatever. So how I use it is going to benefit me long term. So I'm always going to spend their money first. Also, it keeps me from losing money and not being able to recoup it if something goes wrong because I'm not liable for those payments if I use my credit card. Because I can always dispute that and I don't lose at the end of the day. If I go and use my debit card and they take that money, guess what? You are not going to get that money back. So I don't let them have access to my money. Only I have access to my money.
Right.
Right. And so if I'm going out and I'm going to buy something to eat and I roll into McDonald's to get something for the kids, guess whose money I'm spending?
Mm-hmm. That's
I'm
right.
not giving them my debit card. You follow me? So I have a card that I'm going to use for that. And then I go and sell the car however I want. Sometimes I roll right back to the house and boom, boom, boom. And I don't even let it process good. It's gone. Get that off my card. Right. But
Right.
I want to make sure that I'm the only one going into my account where my money is. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. Pay with their money. Credit card. Although you can make a purchase with a credit card, this is what I want you to think about. Although you can make a purchase with a credit card, it is not considered money but rather a short term loan from the credit card company to you. So when you use a credit card, though you can pay for something immediately with that card, that's not money. That's a loan.
Loan. Wow.
When you use your debit card, that is considered money. Because when you use your debit card, it's considered money because it's backed by what you have in your account.
Right.
When you use your credit card, it's not backed by anything you have. It's backed by the company that lends the money to you. That's why it's credit.
So that's why sometimes when you go places, they ask you, are you paying credit or debit?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Never listen, you like here's this is just my philosophy, right? If they ask you that, are you paying credit or debit? Guess what you should always say? You should
Debit.
always say credit.
Credit. Credit. Credit. Right.
Yes. Yes. Because
Mm-hmm.
listen, if you say debit, when you say debit and they swipe your card, guess what's going to happen to your account immediately.
Money's going to come out.
Money's gone. Money is gone. You follow me? Money is gone. I don't give people access to my account like that. Once you swipe it, your money is gone. Right? Now, let's say I use my American Express. I come out to New York and sit down with the Greens and say, hey, look, I'm gonna take you guys out. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna eat somewhere and we're gonna have a good time, right? Why would I use my debit card? Do I have the money in the bank? Yes, absolutely. Why should I give them my debit card number? I ain't doing that. I'm gonna pay with my credit card, right? And then when I get back to my hotel room, if I want to do it that fast, I can sell it that fast. Or I can wait until in the morning, or I can wait until the next day, and I can, right?
Right.
Or I can say, I got 30 days on this American Express to settle. I'm not using it for anything else. I went out with the Greens. Even if I spent $200, I don't care. If I spent $200 while we were out, right? Getting good food, watch this. I have 30 days to settle at zero because that's a charge card. It's not a credit card. So I'm using it as a charge card, which means I'm going to settle at zero in less than 30 days. Okay, watch this. We go out, we enjoy ourselves. I spend $200. I know that next Friday, I'm going to get paid. But I also know 2 weeks from next Friday, I'm going to get paid again. That's going to be within 30-day period. Guess what I could do? I could take that $200 that I owe. Next Friday, I could pay $100. And then the Friday after that, I could pay $100 and I'm at zero.
Right.
As long as I'm at zero within that 30-day period, I'm good. I will not get hit with interest and I'm fine. That's what I'm talking about. Is staying on top of what you do. But if I would have went with my debit card, Evangelist Green, and I paid with my debit card, they'd have took the $200 today.
Right.
I don't want to pay them like that. I want to pay them how I want. It's my money. I got to give it to them. So I'm trusted enough to be able to have a credit card to be able to settle my debt whenever I want. And I'm going to do it within 30-day period so they don't get anything extra out of me. So I'm going to use their money to pay for it. I'm going to settle within 30 days so I don't take a penalty for it, right? But I don't want them to take my $200 at one time.
Right.
That's why you pay with credit and not debt.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
A lot. Anybody on
All right.
Facebook has any questions, please type it in and I'll read it out so Dr. Akins can answer your questions. Feel free to ask questions or make a comment. Okay?
Yes. Now, think about this. If I use that, like I use my American Express for a number of miscellaneous purchases. So it's the only card that I use for gas. I don't care where I'm at. I don't use any other card for gas. I'm always use my American Express every time I do that. Right? For small miscellaneous payments, I'm always going to use my American Express. When we go out, we're going to get something to eat. I'm always going to use my American Express. Why am I doing that? Because I have an American Express Gold card and it's going to give me a bunch of reward points. Right? So every time I use it and I get my reward points, then guess what? I also use it for all my Amazon purchases. So whenever I go into Amazon to make a purchase for something, guess what I have? I have points.
Yeah.
Right? And so those points pile up. And then when I get to the end of my cart and get ready to settle and pay, then they'll say, well, you have X amount of points that you can use. I'll use those points, drop my total cost down, and keep it moving.
That's right.
Never worried about it because every time I use it, I'm going to get points for it and it's going to be right back up again.
Right.
But there's some benefit for me doing that. And that's what I'm saying is like when you understand your cards and the benefits for using those cards, you can figure out the best way to use them. Like if you use them at the grocery store and stuff like that, you get a lot more points than if you use them in other places. So you just have to think and understand what you're doing and how to do it so that you get the most for your money. Does that make sense too?
Yes. Now,
all right, the last key point.
Some people look at the APR.
Yes, annual percentage rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You got to be careful with that, right? You got to be careful with that. However, the APR doesn't necessarily affect you if you use it as a charge card. Because the APR is going to affect you if you have a credit card, which means you have a floating balance that exceeds 30 days, then that APR is going to kick in. If that APR is high, which traditionally now you're going to see in a general
Yeah.
sense, APRs are extremely
Oh,
high.
yes.
They are extremely high. And some people are getting those cars and not necessarily understanding that. And then they run out and they make purchases that they do not have the money for. And then when you do that, you're getting hit at 29%, something 31%. Like, really? Is that what we're doing? No, you're reaching your demise for a lack of knowledge. So let me educate you. Like, that's not what we're supposed to be doing, right? Because if
Right.
you borrow $1,000 at 31% APR and you ain't ever settling at in 30-day period, guess what you're gonna end up doing? You end up paying back double
Yes.
of what you borrowed. Depends on how long it takes you. Sometimes it may be triple.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on how long it takes you. And how long it takes you, remember, is going to be based on what you can afford. And one of the things they do, anybody ever got in the mail, or some of us are electronic now, but you look at your bill, let me say it this way. You look at your debt, because I'm talking about debt right now. You look at your your statement for the debt that you owe. When you look at the statement for the debt that you owe, you will see your balance, and then you'll see minimum monthly payment.
Yeah.
And then they'll say minimum monthly payment, $25.
$25.
Now, why do you think they put that on the statement? They put that on the statement because we as people are affected by visual imagery. So when you see that $25, your mind fixates on paying the minimum price. That's why they put it on there. Can I pay more than $25?
Yes, you can.
Absolutely. But they
Yeah.
don't want me to pay more than $25. Why?
No.
Because if I pay $25, it's going to be to their benefit and not mine.
Right.
So they put that $25 on there so that my mind will fixate on that $25, and that's what I look to pay.
That's right.
That's how they get me.
Mm-hmm. That's
Does everybody
right.
follow me?
That's right.
It's one of the older trick in the book, right? That's how they get me. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we educate ourselves so we're not in that position. Now, third piece of that is a debt elimination plan with a buy down strategy. Now you hear me use these statements all the time, and if you follow me on Facebook, um, it it would be smart because I'm constantly every week doing a buy down strategy. It's called the money challenge, right? So you'll see money challenge for 2025. We just started last Friday. It's something that we put into every Friday. You have your own account, you separate it, put it off to the side. You take a portion of money weekly and you put it in there, and I'll be putting it out what you have to put in there. If you're doing it as an individual, if you're doing it as a couple, or whatever the case may be, and you build toward a debt elimination or a settling account that will allow you to be able to settle accounts at zero at the end of the year, right? And so it allows you to be able to pay things off quicker. Does everybody understand? So, so you want to have a doable and an affordable debt elimination plan. And I've had people who've been following me for long periods of time now, and their financial trajectory has changed tremendously just from following the leadership. So it's important to be able to do it. I personally have been using this money challenge since 2019, and it's changed my life, right? So it's 2025, and I'm still doing the same thing the same way, and I'm helping as many people that really want the help. So this debt elimination plan doesn't compromise you or your information or anything like that. You're putting the money in your own account. The only thing I'm doing is helping you stay on task throughout the year, right? And so, um, yeah, there are a lot of people who are benefiting from that.
Right.
Any questions or comments on that?
I understand. This is good information. Very good information. I hope everyone is taking heed to it and taking notes. Good to learn.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know, and again, like I said, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll be able to see it. I post it every Friday morning with the requirement, the information, let you know what we're doing, how we're doing it. And yeah, it will help you out tremendously. All right. I have to blow by this here because this is unfortunately we're on radio, so I won't have to be able to share with you this video, but we're going to keep moving here because I wanted to share with you some information on credit cards. Also wanted to share some information with you about student loans. That's a video, so I won't be able to do that also. So let me go by that. Let me go to another portion of the lesson. All right. There's some good videos out there though. All right, stick to a budget, right? Stick to a budget. Let's talk about that. Sticking to a budget. Those of us that are in the assembly need to get smart. All right. So now when the church needs something, we gotta, you talk about we gotta do some improvements, we gotta do something for the community or whatever the case may be, then you're not penny pinching, right? You're not looking around and saying, wait a second. Now we don't have to take everything from a few people who can afford it. We put everybody in a financial position where everybody can afford it. Now instead of a few people giving $100 or a few people giving $200, we can have a lot of people give $20.
Yeah.
Does everybody see how that works?
Yeah.
Because we educate the masses. Many hands make a heavy load light. Now everybody can make their contribution and they can do it comfortably because we've taught them how to do better. That's a part of it, right? Spiritually and naturally, to make sure that we can have a greater impact, right? So stick to a budget. Let's talk about that. The first thing is a budget is a financial GPS.
Mm.
Without it, you are lost. What is GPS? Game plan for success. All right. It's a GPS. It's your game plan for success. So a budget is a financial GPS. Now I'm going to give you some things I want you to write down. Write this down first under game plan for success. I want you to write down stop drifting. And this is what most of us are doing. Stop drifting. We're allowing ourselves to drift a lot of times because of impulse spending, right? But we allow ourselves to drift off course. When you're on course, you're not drifting, you're moving toward a destination very intentionally and responsibly. But when you're drifting, you're allowing yourself to move along with the wind. Wherever the wind blows is where you go, right? We don't want to be that way. So when you're when you're on this journey we call life, you want to know where you are going and what you want in life. Okay, you want to know where you're going and you want to know what you want in life. All right, I really want you to write this down. If you do not tell your money where to go, you will wonder where it went.
Mm.
If you do not tell your money where to go, you will wonder where it went. Okay, one more time. If you do not tell your money where to go, you will wonder where it went.
Mm.
All right. Now, now I'm just going to throw this in there because I want you to understand this. Okay, if you're trading your time and effort for income, that means you have a job, a profession, or a career, and you're getting compensated, whether that's weekly, whether that's bi-weekly, whether that's monthly, or whatever the case may be, whether you're getting paid per job. When you do a job, you get paid for that job or whatever the case may be. Here's what I want you to understand about this. Let's do a quick self-evaluation. Okay. Let's go from pay period to pay period. If you're weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, pay period to pay period, here's what I want you to assess. If you don't have at least $200 left over from your previous payment or your previous check,
Yeah.
in your account that's unallocated. That means it's sitting there and it's not allocated to do anything.
Okay.
But if you don't have at least $200 from your previous check, when you get paid again, you cannot afford the lifestyle you're living.
Right.
All right, I'll say this again.
I hear you.
If you don't have at least, I'm being generous, at
Yeah.
least $200
Facts.
from your previous check when your next check comes, you cannot afford the lifestyle that you're currently living.
That's facts.
But the bad part about it, Evangelist Green, is so many of the people who claim to be believers, we live like that.
I want to live rich.
We live like that. And if we live like that, that's a poor man's mentality. We cannot live from paycheck to paycheck. That is not the example that we got to remember. We're the king's kids.
Yeah.
And we should be clearly identifiable to the world by the way we operate. Because people will inquire, how are you guys so successful? How do you do what you do? Because I'm a king's kid and I follow kingdom principles.
Amen.
Here's the culture. In kingdom culture, prosperity is the culture. For me to be profitable, for me to in the culture, in the kingdom, we're the head, not the tail. That means I'm the front runner.
Front runner.
I'm most likely to succeed. Why? Because we follow sound principles and wholesome practices. That's why. And in those wholesome practices are guarantees. They're all over the scriptures. The guarantees are right there. It tells you if you do this, this will happen. If you don't do that, this will happen. That's a guarantee. How many times does the scripture says, do this and ye shall? Ye shall. That's a promise. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
It's all over the scriptures. So there are equations to success. That's why success is predictable, because it's an equation. Watch this. If I say 2 plus 2, you don't have to struggle to say that's 4. You know why? Because the equation equals the outcome.
Right.
You take 2 plus 2, you will never have to struggle to get 4. You can take 2 apples, 2 cell phones, 2 TVs, 2 people, 2 remote controls, 2 bottles of water. It's always going to equal 4. 2 plus 2 is always going to equal 4. You ain't got to struggle. Why? Because that's the equation to get 4.
Right.
3 plus 1 equals what? 4. Because if I take 3 of anything and I add 1 to it, guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to get 4. I ain't got to struggle to get it. I ain't got to make it happen. It's going to happen automatically because there's an equation that makes that outcome.
Exactly.
It's the very same way with everything else we do inside the kingdom.
Right.
There are equations that equal outcomes. That's why people can come and ask us, how do you do what you do, the way that you do it, and they can get what we get. Does everybody understand?
Amen.
But you have to be taught this information. Just like anything else, you have to be taught. Okay?
Right.
So we have to have a financial GPS. Yes, Ms. Carol.
Yes, sir. When you were just speaking about um, not having the $200 left from the prior paycheck, that made me think of this book that I'm reading, Beyond Blessed. There's a passage in there, and I'm paraphrasing it. The couple said to the pastor, well, I'm giving and I'm lending like I was told, but I'm still in credit card debt. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that, yeah, what you said made me think of that. So yes, they're not doing a lot of something right. That didn't even make any sense.
Yeah, like what we have to do is, again, we have to go to the scriptures and we have to teach what the scriptures teach and not what we were taught. Because sometimes what we do is more about what we were taught than the truth. You understand? Okay. We have moral obligations. If I was speaking to that couple, let's say that couple was talking to me. Where I would take them is I would take them to the scriptures and I would show them in the scriptures how we have a moral obligation to meet the needs of the parent. I'm talking to the men. We have a moral obligation to meet the need of our parents. But you don't get to say that the money that I'm supposed to use to meet the needs of my elderly parents, that I'm actually taking that and putting it into the assembly. So I don't have it to meet the needs of my parents. The scriptures don't allow you to do that. The scriptures do not allow you to do that.
Right.
You have to meet that moral obligation. And see, a lot of times we try to teach people that we have to meet the obligations in the assembly first, and that's not true. You can't find that nowhere. The truth of the matter is, our natural obligations are extremely important, but so are our spiritual obligations. And so we have to step through proper principles. Remember, don't the scripture say this, that all things must be done how?
In
Two
decent
ways.
and in order.
Decently and in order. Okay, so now decently is about how we do it. It's with the spirit that we do it with. You got to be decent, man. You got to be right about how you do things. But you also have to do it in proper priority. When he says in order, if things are in order, right? If they're in order, that means there is a priority set to it. This, 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 and this. That's how it's supposed to be done. Orderly. And you better meet that order.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to understand. Some of us can get so engulfed in our responsibility. Oh man, I'm the pastor. I'm responsible for the assembly. Sure, but not at the expense of your wife and family.
Mm.
Hello, not at the expense of your wife and family. Those people that are sitting in them pews, or they don't come before your wife and family. So you don't get to just say that. Like, stop. You don't get to say that. What you do get to do is address your first responsibility, be very, very good at that so you can take on the additional responsibility of taking care of the assembly. That's the way it's supposed to be done because that is orderly. But you got so many people who are forsaking their first responsibility and thinking they're compensating by doing everything else. And that just doesn't work, doesn't fly. See, I like that, right? That right there gets some feathers ruffled. In the new year, January, I'm already starting.
It's starting
All
already,
right.
right? Behave. That's all
All
right. We
right.
need to
So,
hear it.
yeah, I don't want to start, right? Okay. So, you want to have a financial GPS, right?
And
So
can
that
you
you
say
don't
what
get
GPS
lost.
stands for?
Say that again.
Can you repeat what GPS stands for?
Yes, ma'am. Game plan for success.
Game plan for success.
Yes, that's your GPS, right? It's always going to chart your course to get you to a destination, right? And the key is to stay on task, not on track. There are going to be things that knock you off track all the time, right? But the GPS just reroutes you to get you to your destination, okay? So the GPS charts the course, and then you get started, and then you adjust during execution,
Right.
right? So if you hit a detour, what does the GPS do? It reroutes you.
Reroute you.
Detours do not change the destination. It just alters the route. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
So when you have a plan, that's important to make sure you have a plan. And we're going to talk about planning and stuff here in a second, but I want to make sure that you stay on course because really what's happening is if you have great information and you have proper demonstration, then you will have you like if you have great information and good demonstration, you will have proper duplication.
Right.
So people will be able to duplicate what they see you do because people do what people see. Right. And so what you have to do is from like here, you can't, don't just be good at telling people what they should know and what they should do. You should be able to show them how to do it. Anything I'm telling you about right now, I can actually show you how to do it. And if you reach it, and if you run into some rough patches, I can actually coach you out of those rough patches. Why? Because these are things that I've actually done. These are things that I'm actually doing. So it's not just informational knowledge, it's experiential knowledge. So when you stand before the people with information, you should be able to give them information from both information and experience and show them how it works. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So, second thing is, this is a good one. Evangelist Green, you'll like this one.
I'm waiting.
Watch your habits, not your money.
Okay.
Watch your habits, not your money. Write that down. Watch your habits, not your money. Here's why. Because if there's a problem, it's not your money, it's you. If there's a problem, it's not your money, it's you. So you got to watch your habits. Don't watch your money. Okay? Here's a habit that you have to pay attention to. Track your expenses and keep your eyes on the prize. Track your expenses, keep your eyes on the prize. Remember what I said before, simple things done consistently over time yield the best results. That's one of my quotes, right? It's important for us to understand that. Let's do simple things consistently over time. Let's go. Let's step through it. Simple things consistently over time, right? Now, Carol, how long have you been doing the money challenge with me online?
This is my 3rd year.
3rd year, right? All right. Think back to the first year that you started the money challenge in January. It was simple things done consistently over time, right? In the beginning, you had your like, oh man, this is different, right? Trying to get used to doing that, being consistent with it every week, right? Making sure that you're doing it, right, meeting your obligations, right? We're talking our way through it. You get through the first year, we start right back up, right? The next Friday, start right back up again. Come through the 2nd year. Now you're 24 months into it. Now you're starting your 3rd year. Can you see a difference?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So this is what I'm talking about. Case in point. So when I do the money challenge, I end the money challenge at the end of the year. I'm putting it in for the couple's amount. At the end of the year, when we got to the last Friday of the year, the couple's amount was $9,340 that I had set aside in the money challenge to be able to sell. Right. So watch this now. I was able to go and I had a credit card debt for a major purchase. These are keep numbers in my head. I was able to settle on the last Friday, which was the 27th. I was able to settle at $8,831.84. That's still in my head because I keep these numbers like that, right? So $8,831.84. I was able to settle at zero on the 27th. And I still had a balance because I had $9,340 sitting in that settling account that I had built from simple things done consistently over time. I was able to do that. Now watch this. Yeah. Evangelist Green, we just got through talking about interest. Mm-hmm. Now, had I still been making just a payment, that is a roughly 3 to 4 year debt that I would have been paying.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yes.
Yes, because even if I pay on it twice, this is the part that we miss. Even if I pay on it twice, they're going to hit me with interest every month. So it's like I'm taking 3 steps forward, but I'm going to take 2 steps back. Backwards. That's what interest does. And so because I was able to, I had built myself into a settling position where I could go in there and pay lump sum and zero it out. You actually think they like to see me coming at the end of the year? They don't. But guess what I did? I got rid of them. You follow me? Thank you for your service. Thank you for allowing me to make this big purchase, but I'm done paying you over. No, you're not getting no more. Right? Now watch this. What was I able to do? See, when I talk about the buy down strategy, what it allows me to do, I'm just going to give a rough number. Let's say I was paying $200 every 2 weeks. So that's $400 a month. If I was paying $200 every 2 weeks, now I'm paying $400 a month, and I was paying that on that debt, and I settled it at zero on the 27th of December, watch what happens. That means I recoup $400 a month, $200 every 2 weeks. Everybody following me?
Yes.
Here's what you cannot do. You cannot take that $400 and roll it into your bottom line. If you roll it into your bottom line and you don't tell it where to go, you're going to wonder where it went. I was already paying $400 a month, $200 every 2 weeks. So I'm going to tell that money I recoup to look over here because I'm paying $150 every 2 weeks or $300 a month on a debt that I'm currently paying. I'm going to roll that $200 every 2 weeks, $400 a month into that same debt over here. Mm-hmm. And now I'm paying $700 a month. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Because I reallocated. Now I'm going to buy down this next debt very aggressively. It goes from $150 every 2 weeks. If I add that $200, now that's $350 every 2 weeks. That's $700 a month. Now notice how quick that debt is going to go away. Does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Now watch what I do. Evangelist Green, all right, I'm finna give y'all a class. Watch what I do. When I recoup and reallocate, this is how you got to outsmart them. If I'm paying $150 every 2 weeks to make $300 per month, okay, they are charging me interest against that amount. Does everybody follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am still going to make my $150 every 2 week payment. That's $300 a month, but I pay stuff every 2 weeks, and I pay half of everything. And if you want to know more about that, I will tell you that. But every bill or debt I have is always cut in half, and I pay it every 2 weeks. Okay. Now, here's the thing though. If they're gonna charge me interest against that amount because that's how much I'm paying, and that's my monthly requirement. But I'm also overpaying, which allows them to be able to go and get the money they want for interest, and I'm fine, settle that debt, put the rest toward principal. Watch this. When I recoup and I reallocate, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to take that recoup and reallocation and make it one bulk payment because they're going to hit me for interest every time off of that. You ain't going to get to do that to me. I'm going to give you the $150 every 2 weeks, just like I always do. And then I'm going to, like the next day, make an extra payment of $200 that I recouped and reallocated. But I'm going to specifically check the box that says principal only.
Principal only.
Yes, because if I don't check that box that says principal only, and this is extra money that I'm paying them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to hit me against that interest payment. That's what they're going to do. No, you're not going to do that to me. So when I pay my monthly requirement, you can hit that for interest. But extra payment that I give you, you cannot hit that for interest. That extra payment is going straight to principal. That's it. Does everybody follow me?
Yes.
Now here's the thing. Here's the thing is when people say, well, I'm good at purchasing vehicles, and I go in the bank and I can really negotiate and get whatever I want. But at the end of the negotiation, I already know that I'm going to pay this, I'm going to settle this debt very early, right? But that doesn't matter. What matters to me is, so like when I go in there, I'm like telling them what I want. I'm not letting them dictate anything to me. I'm just telling them what I want. This is what I'm getting ready to get. This is how much. This is how much I want. This is what I want my monthly payment to be, and I just settled that. How do we need to do that? Oh, well, let's do 72 months, or let's do 60 months. No, I don't like that. Let's do 72 months. So they give me what I want. I get my payment where I want, and then I always overpay.
Yeah.
So I'm overpaying, right? But watch this. Because of the money challenge, because I'm aggressive with that buy down strategy, right now I only have one major credit card that has a debt on it. I'm going to settle that at zero before the end of the year. Just using like the strategy now because I was able to recoup, because I recouped a lot from last year. So now that rolls over, not into my bottom line, but into that requirement to help expedite that, right? Buying down throughout the year.
Yeah.
Tax money comes back. I have a percentage of where that goes. A percentage of that goes into my management reserve, which we're going to talk about as we go through this also. And then I take the rest of it and I roll it into that debt. You follow me? So there are things that I'm doing in order to be able to do that. But what happens is, now watch this, when I'm able to settle out at zero, then that means that in 2025, I have zero credit card debt at all. Have a bunch of limits, high limits, no debt. All right. Now that means if I wrote right now on that major, I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean. On that major credit card that I have, I am paying $1,600 a month on that card. Now, how many people can say that they're doing that with one debt? That's some people's rent a month. I'm doing that on a credit card. Why? Because of all the recoup, reallocation, all the things that I've done with the money challenge, I can afford to do that with one because I've eliminated all the other debt. So you can focus your attention on the one thing that you have. Now watch this. This is what I'm trying to get you all to understand the benefit of doing this. If you teach the people that are sitting in an assembly these type of principles, what's going to happen over time is the people are going to get the yoke of bondage broken off their neck. And when they get free, they can do more. They're not going to buy red bottom shoes. They're not going to, that's not what they're doing. They're making a difference in the lives of other people because most of the people in the assembly have goals, dreams, and visions of furthering the kingdom. They have things that they really want to do, but they can never afford to do it. But if you give them the money, but how do you got, it's not like the money has to come from anywhere else. You're already making it. What you have to do is help to free them from the yoke of
Yeah,
bondage
yeah.
naturally, because the Most High does that spiritually. Christ does that for us spiritually. But we have to use right principles from the scriptures to do that naturally. Does everybody understand?
That's right.
So we help to get them from underneath the yoke of bondage. We got to break that off of their neck. Once they get free, they can plow in any direction they want to go. So it's important for us to do this. But here's what I'm saying. During 2025, if I continue to step through $1,600 a month, if I do that for 12 months, that's $19,200 that I would have paid toward a debt. Well, when I get to the end of the last Friday at the end of 2025, following the money challenge, there'll be $10,400 in that account. I will only need maybe a small amount of that to put toward that. And then I'm done with all my major consumer debt. It's all gone.
I
So
have a question.
now the $1,600 that I was paying out is actually in my account. So remember when I said when you at least need to have at least $200. Imagine when you got $2,000 left over from the check that you just got 2 weeks ago. See the difference? See what you can do when people call you now and they need it, right? You see what you can do? You can do a whole lot. Now watch this. If I get to the end of 2025, I settle out, and I just said $1,600 a month. That's $800 every 2 weeks. When I recoup that, I can look at that brand new vehicle that I got in the garage right there that I got in 2024, and I can look at that debt and I can say, what if I add $1,600 a month to what I'm already paying? You follow me? What if I
Mm-hmm.
could just add $1,600 a month to what I'm already paying and hit principal only on top of what I'm already paying? And if I were to do that, by the time I get to, I'm telling you what I did to be able to pay for two vehicles, one in 24 months and one in 23 months, but because of what I'm doing. So imagine that. I would have a brand new vehicle that's only maybe 2 years old and it's paid in full in less than 3 years. Brand new
It
vehicle.
can be done.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's my responsibility from the platform teach you all how to do the very same thing. And so now you're not struggling for long periods of time to be able to pay for anything. Now watch what happens. So now what happens inside the kingdom is when we say, hey, we need new pews. Hey, we need new carpet. Hey, we need a new central air and heat system. You follow me? We ain't got to send this plate around 3 and 4 times and leaning on people who are broke to try to, no, we won't have to do that. No, because everybody's operating from surplus. And because everybody's operating from surplus, what do we need? What's the requirement? Oh, it's $4,000. How many in here? It's easy for us to go and get what we need, and boom, it's done. It's over. Does everybody understand?
Yeah.
But you got to teach your people how to do that, or you burden them with guilt. This is what we're doing to our people. Is we're making them feel guilty, and they're taking their rent money, they're taking their electricity money, they're taking their because you're making them feel guilty, like they're taking care of their families and not giving to God. This is what you're saying,
Right.
and you know that ain't true.
Right.
But yet you're using that to manipulate the people. We're done doing that. Let's educate the people, stop manipulating the people, so that they learn how to do better, so we can do more.
Right.
Does everybody understand?
Understood. I have one question. I want to
Yes,
go
ma'am.
back a little bit. You pay off your credit cards and things. If you pay
Mhm.
it off, don't that bother with your credit?
No, what you're referring to is if I close the account.
Close the account. Right.
Yes, you pay it off, but you don't close the account.
Okay, so that means you have to leave a little bit of something on it so
No,
it
I
won't be
don't.
closed out.
No, I don't. Here's what I do. Remember when I said earlier I got a credit card that I use for different things?
Yes, yes.
That's what you do. You turn it into a charge card and you say, I'm going to use this for getting gas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use this card right here for getting grocery. I'm going to use this card right here for when I travel. I'm going to use this card right here for when I get gifts, miscellaneous purchases for gifts, anniversaries, things like that. I'm going to use this card. So you still keep the card active and you still keep the card in use. So I don't have no penalties, none of that stuff. But here's the thing though, but I never have anything sitting on that card over 30 days.
Okay, so you can pay it off completely, but
Yes,
just continue to put something on it and then just pay it off before the bill comes in.
you can pay it off when the bill comes in, but within
Mm-hmm.
30 days, it's always going to be at zero.
I understand.
So that the first of every month is always going to be at zero. So so what I'm doing now is I'm using it as a charge card. I'm going in. You know how they have this stuff like 90 days savings cash or whatever, and you go in and you get something, you pay for it in 90 days, so they don't hit you with interest, stuff like that. Okay, you can do that. Like I have a Best Buy card, right? So if I want to go buy appliances, I always get everything from Best Buy. So if I go and buy a range or I go and buy, let's say I go and I buy, you know, let's say a new microwave or I buy a new stove, and let's say I paid $1,500 for that stove. You know what I would do? I'll use my Best Buy card to pay for that stove,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't do the rewards. I will say do the they do it like 16 months or 18 months or
Yeah.
whatever, and they say no interest free. I'm laughing inside because when they do that with most people, they're saying these people ain't gonna pay it within 18 months.
Right.
When they do that to me, I'm laughing inside. You give me 18 months to pay for that?
You're gonna
Yeah,
be
that's funny.
before
So
then.
you know what I do? I just swipe it, say 18 months. I know that ain't gonna happen. So I go home and I might split that into, I might say I'm gonna do this in 3 months. I go and I say 1,500, 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
3 months, that's two, 4, 6 payments.
I can understand that.
You follow me?
Yes.
Boom, 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 done.
Oh,
Now when I go to Best Buy, I can get anything I want.
yeah.
Yes. If you need a new computer, guess what? I go up there. How much it is? Okay, great, no problem. If I look at that computer, I ain't gonna spend my money. I got it in the bank. I'm not gonna spend it. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna swipe that Best Buy card and I'm gonna say 18 months. I'm gonna laugh when I go home and I'm gonna determine whether or not I'm gonna pay that in 30 days or I want to pay it in a month and a half or 2 months
Right.
because I don't have to worry about interest. So I can let that go past 30 days because there's no interest associated with it. You see how smart that is? So now I can say, I'm going to do this in 4 payments. I'm going to do this in 3 payments. I'm going to do this in 2 payments. No, I'm going to pay this tomorrow. I
Yeah.
can make that call myself whenever I want. And then I do it.
I know. Yes, I understand.
You see how that works? Now, so if you do that, to answer your question, is I don't close out my credit cards. I zero them out, and then I give them a specific use. So now when I have to give the card for something, I always ask the question of anybody who lives here, what are you getting ready to do? I need to get groceries. Or I need to get gas. I need to get so what they say tells me what card to go in this wallet and get. So I have a card designated for that. That's how I keep activity on that card. Go do it. Boom, boom. I already, while they're going making the purchase, I already know how that's going to be paid and when.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I didn't ask the question right. Okay. You pay
No,
it
I
right.
think you did.
Now, if you pay off and then you just put the card, I want to put this away because I don't want to use it anymore.
Then,
That would bring
then,
your credit down.
then what? Yeah, what I'm saying is, why have the card if you're not going to use it?
Mm-hmm. Tired of paying bills. No, but
Well,
I understand
the
that.
card is not going to be a bill.
Mm-hmm.
Credit cards are how you create debt.
Right.
Yeah, so that's not a bill because credit card is not providing you with a service. Credit card is a debt.
It
That
is.
means I'm getting ready to go. Remember what I said before, though? I'm using their money first. So if I have a credit card, I'm always gonna use it because I'm not going in there giving them my debit card for anything.
I understand
Why?
what you're saying.
No, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you got a credit card right now and you zero it out. It's zero. Like the card I just zeroed out, right? Okay, let's use that. The card I just zeroed out, I know is the card that I use for my kids love going to Six Flags, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
got yearly passes, and there's a certain like charge that I have like every month. It's like $40 or something like that. But they can go all year long, many times they want to, whatever the case may be, right? Okay, but I have to have a rolling balance on that. So that charge that I know is going to hit every month. So even though I zeroed it out, I know that there's going to be a $40.39 charge that's going to hit that card right every month. So I just pay that card,
Yeah.
right? So now because I'm paying for that card, I know that its card is being used. I also have where you can go to the car wash, and we have monthly memberships where you pay that membership. It's going to hit the
Yeah.
card every month.
Right.
You can take it up there as many times as you want, right?
Anytime you want. Right.
I will put something like that on that card, keeps the card active,
After.
keeps me with points, but it's never going to be something that goes over 30 days.
Right.
So I want my cards to stay active. I don't want to close them because if I close them, yes, it will impact your credit
Yeah.
negatively.
Yeah. That's what I was asking about. Right. I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to do that. You just want to change the use of the card and give it a specific reason why you're going to use it. All right.
Gotcha.
Any other
Gotcha.
questions?
Anybody on Facebook have any questions? If you're on YouTube Live, you can also type it in, and I can read it out, and it can be answered. Don't be afraid. Come on, answer. Okay. I have someone that just typed in and said exactly. That's oh boy, I just lost it. Okay, he says exactly. That's what I am doing.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So keep doing what you're doing. Right. Here's what I say: simple things done consistently over time yield the best results. Right. You've heard me say that before.
Right.
That's why I say that. All you simply have to do is do simple things, but you have to be consistent with those things. And everything that we do takes time. So when you do things simple, you do things consistently.
Right.
Over time, you will yield the best
Best
results
results.
because what it does is it creates a certain amount of discipline as well as self discipline to step through anything that you have. Right? It also begins to build the patience that you need spiritually and naturally to get positive results.
Mm-hmm.
The scriptures tell us in our patience is how we possess or how we manage and maintain our souls properly. That's what the scriptures teach. That ain't just spiritual, that's natural also.
Yes.
So, how do I cultivate patience? Is by doing simple things consistently over time and having the right attitude while I'm doing it. That's what it's about.
Right. Exactly. I hope everyone is taking heed and understanding to what Dr. Aiken is saying because it's very interesting and it's good to know. Good food.
All right, let me give you a simple definition of what I just said about simple things, right? This quote means that by consistently performing small, simple actions over a long period of time, you can achieve the most significant and lasting positive outcomes. Even if the individual actions seem insignificant on their own, essentially, the power of consistent small habits leads to substantial progress. That is how I want to get to where I want to go.
Right.
You follow me? Here's what I try to get people to understand: your mind moves toward dominant thought patterns. Here's what I think is real detrimental to the people of God is the people of God spend so much time thinking about negative outcomes.
Hmm.
Here are the negative outcomes: sin, wrongdoing, what we're not supposed to do, thou shalt not, this and that. Okay, right? That's where we spend our time.
Yeah.
And because we spend our time with that kind of stinking thinking,
Hmm.
is the reason why we keep tripping over ourselves. What we have to inundate ourselves with is the right principles. If you spend more time thinking about what I should be doing as opposed to not what I shouldn't be doing, think about what you should be doing. When you teach and preach, it should be about what people should be
Should be
doing.
doing.
Stop getting up talking about sin. Because if you keep sin on people's mind all day long, guess what their mind is going to do? It's going to move toward what you talk about. You got to stop doing that.
Right.
What you have to do is tell them what they should do. The scripture says, train up a child in the way that he should go. It didn't say spend time talking about what he should not be doing. You have to create the dominant thought pattern. Their default mode should be programmed with all the things that they should be doing. That is what we should do. Does everybody understand?
That's right.
I'm going to pull this down because I don't have enough time. But this is what we should be doing. And you put that on people's mind every day. That's in the forefront of your mind every day. When you wake up in the morning, right there. When you go to bed at night, it's right there. Scriptures tell us, what does scripture tell us to do? It says meditate, right?
Right.
That means you got to put these right principles on replay. They got to go over and over and over and over and over and over and over. That's the meditation. I got to keep going over and
Yeah.
over and over and over and over. Because that repetition causes it to stick and stay. It sticks and stays because that's all you ever talk about.
That's
That's all
right.
you ever think about. Right? It's doing it the right way. That's what you should do. If you want anybody in your life, I'm gonna say it to you this way. If you want your relationship to improve, right?
Hmm.
Stop talking to your mate about the things they're doing wrong.
All right.
If that's what you talk about all the time, guess what's going to happen?
They're gonna do wrong. Hmm.
Exactly. You have to stop talking about that. What you have to talk about is all the right things to do. When I deal with people as a life coach, right? What I try to get them to do is to stop the stinking thinking.
Stop the stinking thinking.
Thoughts become words, words become actions, actions become habits, habits become character, and character becomes destiny. But it begins with the way you think. I want you thinking healthy. If you think healthy thoughts, your body will move toward being healthy. But if all you ever talk about is negative thoughts, then guess where you're going?
Hmm. That's right.
When I help people
Negative.
with their dietary law, right?
Hmm.
Here are the dietary adjustments we're going to take. Here's a question that most people will ask you. Man, no, they'll say, okay, I got to go to the grocery store and I got to buy some stuff. Okay, what shouldn't I buy?
And that's what they
I'm
want to
like,
buy.
no, we're not doing that. What we're
Hmm.
doing is telling you all the things you should buy.
Right.
Yes, you think I'm going down a litany of all the things you shouldn't buy? Because guess what? If I do that, when you go in there, you're going to go in there with a list of things that you
You
shouldn't
shouldn't
buy.
buy.
And guess what's going to be attractive to you the entire time you're in there? Is the whole list of all the stuff you're not supposed to buy.
Right.
And eventually you're going to grab some on that list you're not supposed to have because that becomes your dominant thought. But if I send you in there with a list of all things you should buy, every time you look at that list, it's going to send you right where you're supposed to go. You need to get these raisins. Guess where you're going? You need to get these grapes. Guess where you're going? Right? But
Right.
if I send you in there, don't buy chips, don't buy Oreos, don't buy soda, don't buy this, and guess where you're going to be?
Right there. The
It,
chip aisle.
this is all we end up doing.
Right.
Yes. And this is what we put people on people's mind
Hmm.
all the time.
So don't
You know,
talk negative talk. Talk positive talk.
absolutely. When you drop
Hmm.
your kids off, stop saying to them, don't be talking in class today. So make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you do like
Exactly.
right before you drop them off. And guess what they end up doing as soon as you drop them off?
Talk so much.
It's
Misbehave.
because that's what you programmed in
Hmm.
their mind, right?
That's right.
But if you say things like today's gonna be a fantastic day,
Yes.
you're gonna take some really good notes today,
Yes.
right? You're gonna do this, you're gonna tell them all of that stuff, and that's where they're gonna
That's
focus.
right.
And then they come back with some really good notes.
Right. Now, I have a habit of telling my grandchildren when they go to school, have a great day, you know?
Mhm.
Then I say, be a good leader and not a bad follower,
Okay.
you know?
Yes.
Because that's what you
Yes.
want them to do. If you want to pick up the bad children or misbehaving children, you're going to do that. So you're going to be a bad leader and a bad follower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Everything is about how we communicate, right?
Right.
Everything is about language, right? The speech, the language, the speech, the expressions that we use and how it's communicated.
Mhm.
What I generally say to people is this. You know how sometimes you say, have a great day?
Yes.
I never say that. I used to say that. I changed that. That's what I say now.
What do you say?
I say, make it a great day.
Make it a great day. That's a
Watch
good
this.
one.
Make it a great day all day. That's what
Oh,
I say.
that's
Make
a
it a
good
great day
one.
all day.
I'm going to do that.
Yes, I say make it a great day.
Yes.
Here's something that we often say is I'm having a bad day. Anybody ever said that? I'm having a
Used
bad
to.
day? Don't say that anymore.
Don't.
No more bad days. You may have bad moments,
Right.
but no moment should dominate your entire day.
Right.
I had a bad moment, but I'm not having a bad day. No
Exactly.
more bad days.
Exactly.
Everything's about what we say.
Because
So we got to change the way we communicate.
right. Because before you know it, you wake up with a bad and go to bed with a bad. So you want to
Exactly.
have a great moment.
Exactly. Yeah, because we're all going to have some bad moments.
Yes.
That happens to all of us. But a bad moment doesn't get to hijack my entire day.
Right.
No, I'm not
It's
going to
like
let
you're
that happen.
looking for it.
Absolutely.
You're looking for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us sometimes we say, I'm sick. Somebody actually say, how you doing today? Tell the truth. You say, I'm sick. I used to say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I say now? I'm managing my health.
Mm-hmm.
Managing my health.
Right.
That's what I'm doing. So I'm not talking about sickness. I'm talking about health. I'm
Health.
managing my health. So people who know me best, they know that's my way of saying I'm not feeling my best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm managing my health right now.
Good one.
See that? Everything's about the way that we communicate. So we have to teach people how to communicate properly so we get the results that we want.
Right.
Does everybody understand? So it's
Exactly.
not just, listen, it's not just, we just happen to be talking about money management because that's the course. And so when people dial in and they listen in, they think that, oh man, these guys are just about money, blah, blah. No, we're not. I'm just taking righteous principles and translating them to money matters
Right.
so that you understand how to apply the same principles to money because that's what we're supposed to do. Because the scripture says in Ecclesiastes, we know that Ecclesiastes says that money answers all things. Why? Because it's the method of exchange for everything. Listen, there is nothing that you are doing or can do that money does not have an involvement in. It's in everything.
Yes.
Yes. In order for you to be able to listen to this Zoom, don't you have to pay for it? You do.
That's
I
right.
do. Exactly.
That's right.
Right? You got these beautiful headphones on, right? You didn't get them for free.
Huh, you have to
You
pay
had to
for
pay
it.
for them. Exactly. This
That's right.
electricity you use and you have to pay for. So this is the reason why in the scriptures, money or possessions is talked about over 2,300 times. Why? It's because we have to be really, really good at how we manage our assets, our money, because it impacts every single thing we do.
Exactly.
There you go. All right.
Exactly. We learned so
So I'm going to
much
yield back
tonight.
the balance of my time over to you,
We learned
Evangelist.
so much. Yes, Sister Carol. Go ahead.
Yes. I'd like to say something very briefly. So we're on money management, and the section that we were talking about tonight, credit and different things like that. February, I'm not sure. I want to say it was around the beginning of February of 2021. Dr. Akins was invited. There was a travel call. It was like every Wednesday they were doing like a travel call. Dr. Akins was invited on there. I never saw Dr. Akins in my life, but at the time, my sponsor had told me about the call. So she was like, come on, you'll get something out of it. Just travel. I didn't know anything about, again, didn't know anything about Dr. Akins being on there. But Dr. Akins was talking about the same exact thing that he was talking about tonight. Managing your credit cards, eliminating credit card debt. Um, so when he said stick and stay a few minutes ago, that made me think. Well, before I say that, before he closed out, he invited people to classes that he has. He invited ladies to ladies' locker room, and he invited the men to the Lions Den, the men's class that he has on Saturdays. And I had no idea what I was doing, but what he said that night was very intriguing. I had never heard it explained like that before. Matter of fact, I never even heard it before, but it sounded good. So I said, okay. So I reached out to him. I gave him my email. He sent me the information. And what I did, I started going to his classes that following week. It was confusing. I didn't really know what I was listening to, but I will say that I adopted a stick and stay mentality. And ever since then, every day has been getting better
All right.
and better and better and better. And I've been able to manage my finances
All
and
right.
my life so much better.
All right.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share that really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
thank
know, this is food for thoughts, you know. So, Dr. Akins, if you want, if you you can let everyone know your information on when you be doing these services, you know, so people on Facebook or whoever's listening, they can tune in on you, you know.
Yes, ma'am. I'm on my platform on Zoom every Monday evening and Tuesday evening. I have the women's ladies, the leading ladies club, and I do that from 9 to 10 on Mondays and Tuesdays. And I'll give you my information. If you need to reach out to me, my number is 978-514-5496, and then I can text you the information. I'm not going to put it out
Right,
online, but
right,
I'll give it to you. You can actually reach out to me, and I will send you the information so you have all the login information and stuff like that.
right,
Because when I do my groups, it's only women on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then on Saturdays it's the men at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I try to get men before they get started on their weekend from 8 to 9 in the morning. So and I can send the flyers and stuff, all of that stuff like that. So
okay, so this is Monday and Tuesday from 9 to 10 in the morning, you say?
no,
Oh, in the
this is in the
evening.
evening, PM,
Oh, evening.
in the evening.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Okay, I got you. I understand. Yeah, so, you know, come on over and listening, watching what Dr. Aiken's talking about. You know, you get to learn something. You're learning something tonight once a week on a Wednesday, so you want to learn more, you need more food for thoughts, tune in. You know, he's opening up his arms to you. Tune in. Cuz this is very interesting. If you don't know, you know now. You know, you learn so much. Basically, this is what Reverend Doctor does as well, you know? And this is him calling me. He
Yeah,
does the same
absolutely.
thing what you're teaching as well. So I
Yes,
basically
ma'am.
know too. So this is what you know. Hold on one second. Rock Vibe. Good evening. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm listening to the program tonight, and
Hmm.
this is something that we all need. Am I on the air?
You're in the air. Can everyone hear?
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, they can hear you.
okay, Dr. Akins,
Yes, sir.
you're doing what you do best,
Well, I
and
appreciate
I'm
you, sir.
getting feedbacks already. I'm getting feedbacks already, and this is really good. We thank you for, coming through. And this is really a brand new year. This is a new year which we are learning and getting some more. But some of these concepts that you're speaking about right now,
Yes, sir.
they are concepts that I follow when it comes to payment and paying bills.
Yes, sir.
I was kind of surprised that Evangelist Green didn't bring that up.
I just did.
But I have been teaching her these things for a long time. And this is some. I hope she take I hope she take notes on this,
Oh yeah.
so she can
Yes, sir.
compare them and see where I was coming from and where you are going with this teaching.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna tap out again, but I'm going to say thanks for all who came in and listened, and Happy New Year's to each and every one. All right, and Sister Karen, Happy New Year's to you.
You have Sister Bar up here as well.
Thank you, sir.
And
Happy New
Sister
Year's to
Bar,
you as well.
everyone who
Yeah,
is on there
everyone.
listening,
Yes,
everyone
on all the platforms.
on the
Yeah.
platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and on the Roku TV. I hope y'all tuning on your Roku TV. That big nice TV you have in the living room. You can look at, download the app, Rock Live Gospel Radio, and watch us and listen to Dr. Benjamin as he give us, more than food for thought. This is learning that we need in the assembly, and we are grateful. So God bless you all, and thank you, Dr. Benjamin, and we'll talk.
Yes, sir. God bless you too.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Thank you. Yeah, this is what I was just getting. Well, I was in the midst of saying, Reverend Green does the same thing. Same thing you was teaching. That's the same thing
Yes,
he
ma'am.
was, he does as well. So I'm learning both ways.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. I really, like we always say, we appreciate you every time you come up here. We missed you for the 2 weeks, but sometimes
Yes,
we
sir. I
have to
miss you
take that
everyone.
little
Miss
break
you
and
too, man.
everything, to be with your family and get over whatever you're getting over from the holidays, try to lose the weight from the Thanksgiving and and the Christmas, but
Absolutely. Got work to do.
yes. But yes, I've also learned more about how to, you know, tell everybody don't say have a good day. Make it a good day. So we learned so much tonight. We learned so much, and I appreciate each and every one for coming on to the multi platforms, and thank you so much, Sister Barr and Sister Simpkins, for tuning in on Zoom. It'd be nice if more people can come on to Zoom so you can see the screen and everything, and listen to whatever he has on recordings. He had to bypass a lot of recordings. So maybe we can fill up the Zoom with people, so we can make it right. But anyway, even if you can't come on, we thank you anyway. Yep. So we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. So everyone make it a good evening, make it a good
Absolutely.
day, make it a good night. We love you in the name of Jesus. Good night. God bless until I believe Dr. Green has a visitor coming on tomorrow. Who that is, I have no clue. I don't know the person's name. But just in case, tune in tomorrow evening again from 9 to 10:30. Amen. Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone
Right.
have a great night, a
You too.
safe night. God bless. Thank you, Sister Barr, for coming on. Appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. I had to Zoom on my computer, but I had to eat because I don't get up until 9. So I said, let me put the Zoom on the computer and I'll listen to it on my phone while I'm eating. And then when I finish eating, I'll go into room to use the computer. But
Yeah,
I was still listening, although I wasn't on the Zoom. I was
Recording
listening
stopped.
on Facebook.
I know you was. I saw you on both platforms.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks a lot. You have a good night. Love you.
You also. Love you more. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Bye bye.
Okay, now.